let's just I've got to ask, like, in what sense are immigrants responsible for stealing your culture? Like, how are they doing that? I guess why will you seemingly blame everything except like for the obvious? Because like I see a lot of Americans, especially white Americans, and I can say that because I'm a white American. Like a lot of us like have lost touch with this like culture stuff. But like that's not that's nobody's fault but I guess the people who lose touch with their culture stuff. I'm just thinking like trying to think of like the widest activities that exist. Like square dancing, contra I've been square dancing a few times, but it just yeah, that's one aspect of I guess traditional I guess like white Anglo-Saxon culture. It's like Scots Irish culture, like American backwoods like culture. Yeah, it feels like a very stereotypically white thing to do. Like I don't know, I don't see how nobody's taking that away. Like if you want to go join like a square dancing group, like gotta do it. I've been square dancing a couple. Well, no, I've been contra dancing a few times, and but I've learned the key thing to like preserving any sort of like a cultural thing is like you got to do it. You got to do it. And I just like further like just like all the people like bemoaning like the loss of culture. Like I mean, when I went contra dancing, I mean, I'm seeing like other people that are like it's not just all like white citizen people. It's I'm meeting people from diverse backgrounds who are just there because they're interested in I guess doing the thing. Like I guess ironically, the people you're blaming for erasing your culture, I don't know, seem a little bit interested in, I don't know, at least partaking in it. Like if it's that important to you, like I don't know, feel like you've got to do it. Got to learn how to play like bluegrass music, like, because if you want to preserve like bluegrass, like gotta like I've got to actually do things that preserve it. I go into like a lot of well, I used to. I don't anymore, but I used to like go into like a lot of contemporary like evangelical churches, just utterly devoid of any sort of like I guess cultural significance, just stripped down to the bare bones. It looked like shopping malls essentially, like this big auditorium. I don't know. There was usually like a cross somewhere, so it's a church. Usually got like a coffee shop in the back. Just comparing that with like I guess been like in some older historical churches, with old icons, old statues. I guess with a lot of history behind them. And not all of them, but like a good number of those have been, I guess I guess woke rainbow denominations. So which I find kind of ironic. So these old historical, like congregational or like Presbyterian churches being preserved by, I guess, the wokes, or I don't know, any sort of like a restoration project of stained glass or, old murals. It like, I don't know who's doing that. I feel like it tends to be like, I don't know, art majors and like blue haired liberal people always. And like kudos to any, like, I'm not trying to make this about like, and that right people like right-leaning people never contribute to that. I don't know. I'm sure there are plenty who do, and I'm not really referring to like conservatives. I guess I'm referring specifically to the people who bemoan the loss of culture and who don't do anything to actively preserve culture that they say they identify with, and who furthermore, instead of blaming, I guess, choose to do with I guess the free market and how people choose to spend their off time. I guess it's just people in general seem more interested in, I guess, watching Netflix and not doing anything culturally enriching. Which is fine, like it's a personal decision, but it's still like that's a free market decision. Like, ultimately, if the people who go to art galleries, if they tend to like lean left, then art galleries are going to cater to the people they're attracting. If it's people who are interested in going to see something, that is usually how, I guess, organizations decide like what to show. No, and like that's people. That's like people operating in the free market. They decide like what restaurants do we go to. Like ultimately, I've worked at like an Irish pub before and shut down because ultimately I guess it wasn't popular enough. And again, yeah, the point isn't to just start pointing fingers for the sake of it. But ultimately, like you could say like that's a piece of culture that was lost, like a piece of like our like European heritage. Like that was, I guess, if we're going to blame people, that's nobody's fault, but I guess people who could have gone there, who could have frequented, um, I guess like an Irish pub, and you decided to go elsewhere. You decided to go to like McDonald's or whatever. And even in as much as that's not like your personal choice, that's something you had to do because I don't know, I guess, budget restrictions or whatever. Still, like me, that comes down to like market issues. Yeah, it's just gonna go on and on and on about examples, but my main point is like stop being such a like a whiny bitch ass loser. Like that's not like minorities that are erasing your culture. That's not like immigrants. It's just like the free market in action. So I guess if you really care about preserving culture, like preserve culture. Don't just like blame other people. That's really pathetic.